From sea level in the Sacramento Delta, rising nearly 10,000 feet to the Sierra foothills, the Sacramento region spans an extraordinary range of landscapes, from farming communities to historic mining towns, and from forests to fields that feed the world. Our region enjoys remarkably diverse terrain and natural resources. Our urban centers are home to the vast majority of our people, our major businesses, our freeways, airports, and our state government. But across our 6 counties, the contributions of small towns, farms, and open spaces are vital to the success of our entire region. We have some of the most productive farmland in the world. We have great soil, high-quality water, and a Mediterranean climate that can grow almost anything. Our open lands and forests provide clean air, clean water, timber, recreation, tourism, and wildlife habitat. Our natural resources are supported by our intellectual resources as well. We're the first to benefit from the education and research activity at the renowned UC Davis School of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences, including its cooperative extension programs. These assets and the products they provide benefit rural and urban residents as well as businesses here and across the state and around the world.
What is California agriculture? There's 76,000 farms in this state, 26 million acres, $37 billion worth of production. The largest industry in the state of California still. Over 400 commodities in this state. About $400,000 in revenue per farm, and that's 4 times higher than the U.S. average. Agriculture in California is, by itself, the 4th largest ag economy in the world. It could be its own nation agriculturally.
It is well known that California is a growing powerhouse, the 4th largest agricultural economy in the world, and we're an important part of that. In our region alone, agriculture is a $1.6 billion industry. But there's more to what we get from agriculture than this billion-dollar revenue. Growing food and fiber in our region also creates jobs and income off the farm, in equipment sales, trucking, and manufacturing, for example. We call this a multiplier effect. That means the value of agriculture here is even greater than the direct revenue it brings in. Our region's agriculture has a multiplier effect of 2. The farm gate value, what the farmer is paid for the crops in the Sacramento region, is $1.6 billion. With the multiplier effect, the total value of the agricultural industry in our region is $3.2 billion. Agriculture has deep roots in our region's history and future. In fact, agriculture has been a bright spot during the economic downturn and will be key to the region's recovery. The good news is the value of our crops is going up. The bad news is fewer acres are being farmed. Our farms are threatened by international competition, new pests and climate conditions, the rapidly aging population of experienced farmers, and urban development. Of utmost concern to local leaders and industry experts is that farmland here, as in much of the state, is disappearing. With data going back 20 years, we can see that as our population has grown and as rural landowners have sold their land, the amount of prime farmland has declined. Since 2002, SACOG, the Sacramento Area Council of Governments, has been studying how our region has grown and how we can better accommodate the next million residents in the coming decades. Starting with the blueprint, which focused primarily on urban growth, SACOG has taken an innovative approach to planning for our future. SACOG projected that by 2050, significant rural land would be converted to urban uses if we continued our historic growth pattern. But if we follow the blueprint, focusing growth within already developed areas, the result would be less than half of the land used than if we continued to grow farther and farther out. SACOG's board of directors, made up of elected officials from 28 local cities and counties, understands that our rural areas are critically important to the region's economy, environment, and quality of life. In 2008, SACOG launched the Rural-Urban Connection Strategy. Working with farmers, ranchers, distributors, local governments, and other agricultural stakeholders, SACOG is looking at what's happening on the ground today and what innovations can help keep agriculture, rural communities, and natural resources viable for generations to come. In order to ensure the future economic and environmental vitality of our rural areas, the SACOG board has identified the following issues that must be addressed: the infrastructure of agriculture, land use and conservation, new economic opportunities, forest management, and regulations. Agriculture has thrived for hundreds of years in our region, constantly evolving to meet new demands with new ideas. Today, challenges come fast and the stakes are high. There are many questions to be answered. Will we retain enough farmland and facilities to provide food security and economic stability for our region? Will we prepare the next generation to maintain and raise the value of these critical resources and sustain a high quality of life? Will we protect and maximize our natural resources to the greatest environmental and economic value? SACOG is creating tools that help farmers and communities anticipate future needs and pursue emerging opportunities. The region's general plans do not provide details as to how rural lands are used. One of the first things SACOG did was to do a rural land inventory, giving cities and counties more information about the activity in their rural areas. Then, SACOG created a crop map, turning the generic sector of agriculture into specific categories by what is planted and where. From this data, we can see that our rural areas have four basic types of land use. Large-scale agriculture means areas with larger operations, growing crops that are trucked out of the region for national and international markets. Small-scale agriculture and agritourism, areas containing smaller operations generally serving local markets. Large lot residential areas are mostly rural residential housing which still have some agriculture activity. And open space and recreation areas feature protected land for habitat and other open space purposes which may include agriculture. Using this information, planners can study impacts that affect policy and business decision-making. For example, a farmer can estimate return on investment by adjusting variables such as fuel, fertilizer, labor, and price, not only by crop, but by specific location. These tools can do more than project income and expenses. With knowledge of a crop type, yield, and harvest dates, farmers can predict transportation needs, and local governments can anticipate heavy road use. The RUX project helps rural areas plan for the future so that their role in our region may continue and thrive.